Todd, tell us about yourself, and let's get into it, my guy.
All right. From Memphis my whole life.
Hmm.
Grew up in Raleigh, Hickory Hill, Parkway Village area. Eventually moved out, but I mean, pretty much grew up mostly in that area. Um, love sports, hip hop. Uh, been married for 16 years.
I saw that. Happy anniversary,
Appreciate
congratulations,
it.
Shay. Both of y'all, congratulations.
And hold on, real quick. Shout out to Shay, like before. No cussing, baby. I got you.
Look at.
Oh, but at the beginning you gotta hit her with the favorite movie quote.
Oh, of course, from baby. You my real baby.
So, but also, I thought was interesting too when we was talking before. You're a stay-at-home dad.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
And
so,
have been for 15 years.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Because kind of roles are reverse.
Right.
Kind of in a sense. You know what I'm saying? As far as in the traditional sense.
Right.
And so, being a guy, like I'm not sure. I don't know you as well, obviously, as Shay, but you know what I'm saying. Would you categorize yourself as an alpha or a beta?
Or alpha.
Or alpha? Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, like,
it was tough.
Channeling that energy, which I know Rag is kind of the same, is like, how do you deal with being an alpha male and being a stay at home dad?
Well, Shayla makes it easy. That's part of it. You know what I mean? So she helps. I mean, so it would be different if if it's not per se what she wanted me to do.
Yeah.
So the backstory on that is I was working, and my son, we got she was pregnant and he was on the way, and I lost a really good job that I had due to no fault of my own. But that was
we're gonna get into it because you told that story about we gonna
that
get
was
into
that was around the time of, like, I can't remember exactly, but like right before Obama came in, so probably like 2007, 2008, and if y'all remember, that was a recession type time.
Yep.
So after I lost that job, and at that time, I mean, I was making like $20-something an hour, fantastic benefits, all that. Lost that job, couldn't find anything close to it after that. I mean, we talking minimum wage, maybe a little more. Nothing enough to pay for childcare. And my wife, she's a hairstylist. She was just starting to come into her own, get busy, and she asked me to stay at home. Yeah. She said, well, if you're just going to be able to pay for childcare, again, we learned at that time, for those of you that don't know, you can't pay for one day of childcare. You got to pay for the whole week. We learned that. So, I mean, sure. And so it just kind of worked out to where she asked me to stay at home. I hated it at first. It was rough. I had a lot of rough days. Weeks. I mean,
my thing was it pushback with her? Like,
what you mean?
Like,
did I push back at her?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Like, I want you to say, like, nah, like, I'm not.
I didn't want to do it,
right.
she's the smarter of the two. So
right.
she was like, why
not?
Why do you want to go to work? I mean, you could stay here with our son. Mm-hmm. You gonna give him better, care than anybody else.
For sure. Yeah.
And it worked out better with her too, because her being a hairstylist, she don't work a 9 to 5, right?
Right.
So that opened up her schedule for flexibility to do whatever she needed. Mm-hmm. At the time, both of our parents, moms anyways, were still working.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of options that we had. So did I want to go work a job making, I don't know, $8 an hour? And at that time, it was part-time. It wasn't even really a lot of full-time. I don't know if y'all remember. If you had a job, you was good. But if you lost a job at that time, it was rough.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know, right time, wrong place, wrong time, right place, however you want to say it. But it worked out. I mean, so.
And so we talk about Shayla here. Like, if people don't know Shayla, I put a picture up there. You know what I'm saying? So you'll probably see her. She's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And so
she is.
She's a black woman. Clearly, he's a white male. And so that whole, dynamic, can you speak on just some of your experiences you've had?
Well, that's why I wanted him to, when he was talking about the job.
Okay,
yeah, because you remember.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
that kind of played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get into that a little bit.
Well, I mean, we could be here all day with that, but I mean, we've had a lot of experiences. I've learned and matured from that. It used to really bother me more, just as simple as something going out to eat and seeing a lot of, people look at you, and it's still there today. Like, I mean, we still see it today. But I mean, when we first started dating, it's probably the same, but I just paid more attention to it then. And I think that's part of my maturity is, I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm 42, but when I was 25, I didn't know nearly as much as I did at 30. And then you look back even 5 years, you think of how much, wiser, more mature you are and stuff like that. So when we were dating, you got to remember, we've been married 16 years, but we went together 21. So when we first started dating, I was 20 years old, just turned 21. And she was 17. And so she wasn't quite 18,
Right.
but we were dating.
Still good though.
Right, and we were dating, and I mean, we would go places and we would get looks. I remember even one time I went to her school and gave her something. I can't remember. I took her something for Valentine's Day or a birthday or something. And she told me later in the day, like one guy that was like really good friends with her was like, "Oh, you get down like that?" So I mean, it was just always, little things like that. And just real quick, going back to the job, the place where I worked, it was like I'm not gonna lie, my dad worked there, so he worked there for a long time. It was a tobacco place. It's down on Front Street. And it was a good job, but it was a good old boy place. Even the black folks that I met down there, when they got to know me fairly quick, they knew I was a little different. Right. They were like, "Don't let your girl come down here." And I was like, they threw me off. I was young. I was like, "You working here?" So, right. But they were being smart. They were telling me the right thing. So she came down there. I'd been there for maybe a year or so, and I'd been moving up. I worked on the floor by myself with a $25,000 robot that moved boxes, and maybe more than that. Actually, it's probably more than that. It's probably like $1 million robot, if I'm being honest. Wow. But so they gave me a lot of responsibility. They were telling me how good I was doing all this, and she brought me lunch. They saw it, and suddenly I was a bad employee. I mean, just that quick, like in the blink of an eye, and I was out of there within 3 months.
Keep it presidential.